All right, so welcome back to episode 4 of the NFL QB competition breakdown. Today we are going to be doing the Miami Dolphins, which is Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Tua Tagovailoa, and this one is very interesting. The situation is very similar to the one in LA between Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert, and if you guys did not check out that video, make sure you guys watch episode 3 on the ASC YouTube channel. And also, thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers on our ASC YouTube channel. We really do appreciate it. We're going to be bringing you some amazing content the next couple months and weeks, so make sure you guys are ready for that and continue your support. So thank you guys for everything. But in this video, like I said, it's going to be the Miami Dolphins between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa, and I think that a lot of people think it's going to be Fitzpatrick starting week 1, and for obvious reasons, and I'm probably on that same boat, but I want to give the case for Tua. And I think that when people look at what he did in college, I think a lot of people want to look at his injury history, which is fine. That's a big concern heading into the NFL. But people, I think, really need to focus more on if he's healthy, because the whole tank for Tua, everyone thought he was going to be the first overall pick, but Joe Burrow came to the mix, led the best, maybe college football team we've ever seen in LSU, and Joe Burrow became the number 1 overall pick. So I think that people forget that if Tua didn't, if he didn't get injured and Joe Burrow just didn't come out of nowhere, he's obviously going to be the number 1 overall pick. So I think that people need to focus on if Tua, I guess you could say, was healthy, and I think we need to focus more on his talent. Like, he is an exceptional quarterback, and what he did at Alabama when he was healthy was just phenomenal, and I think that people need to focus on that more. So in this video, we're going to talk about Fitzpatrick and Tua, and we're going to start with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So here's what I love about Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think that if you're Tua Tagovailoa, he's one of the best mentors you can have heading into the league. So I think that that's a huge reason why some people, including me, believe that Fitzpatrick should start week 1, because like I talked about in the last episode, and if you haven't checked out the last episode, make sure you do. I'm a huge fan of sitting your quarterbacks if they're not ready. I hate when you rush rookie quarterbacks. It just never works out. So with Tua Tagovailoa, I really don't think he should start week 1. If I'm being honest, I honestly don't think he should start the whole year, but we'll get into that later. So with Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's one of the best mentors you can have for a rookie quarterback, but what I love about his game is he's so smart. And we'll show this in a second in the film study that's coming up, but he's just such a smart quarterback. The way he, even on the field and off the field, just everything he does, you can tell he's a smart quarterback, and that's what I just really like about his game. All right, so this is my favorite play, I think, from Ryan Fitzpatrick. And also a little bit of backstory about this is I think this is Ryan Fitzpatrick's best game of his season last year. I think he threw for a little under 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. It was a very solid game from Ryan Fitzpatrick. But let's talk about this play. So the Jets are going to put 5 on the line. And first off, here's what I want to say. A lot of people are going to criticize Jamal Adams for stepping up and guarding Mike Gesicki, but you have to realize that Gesicki's going to run a seam route right through the middle of the field, and I think a lot of people, like I said, are going to say that, Jamal Adams needs to get support to Nate Hairston, the cornerback at the top of your screen, because it's a one-on-one with Devontae Parker, who obviously was a phenomenal wide receiver in 2019, and, a lot of people, I think for the most part, with Nate Hairston, you look at it and it's like he had 1 interception in 2019. He only started 6 games. So that immediately to me tells Ryan, if I'm Ryan Fitzpatrick, and this is where I love him being smart, that tells me like, okay, you have Devontae Parker versus Hairston. It's a one-on-one at the top of your screen. You have to figure there's a good chance that Parker's going to win this battle. But in all honesty, it was good coverage by Hairston. We'll get that in a little bit, but it was a perfectly thrown ball by Ryan Fitzpatrick. But the whole point is I don't want you guys to criticize Adams. I think he's the best safety in the NFL. But he just steps up because he needs to guard Gesicki, who's going to run a seam route right through the middle of the field. But here goes the play. Like I said, a lot of pressure mounting. You know that if you're Ryan Fitzpatrick, you got to get the ball off your hands very fast. And he does. It's literally 2 seconds. Throws it to Devontae Parker in the back of the end zone. It's a perfect thrown ball. But we'll see this again from another angle. You'll see Jamal Adams take up Gesicki, like I said. The play is going to unfold. A lot of pressure mounting from the Jets. great ball, great coverage, like I said, but it's just a great catch and throw by Ryan Fitzpatrick to Devontae Parker, and that's what you can get from Fitzpatrick. A lot of people are criticizing him and saying, like I even said in the beginning of this video, like he's not going to be a quarterback that leads you to a Super Bowl or even a lot of playoff success. But he can do this. He's still capable of doing this in his 16th season in the NFL. And I think that as a mentor for Tua, it's perfect. And he can still win a good amount of games for the Miami Dolphins next year. Wide receivers to kind of allow him to be successful per se. So in this instance, it's a 3rd and 13 against the Philadelphia secondary. And obviously they have, I think, 7 guys back. They're only rushing 4, which makes sense, especially on a 3rd and 13. But Devontae Parker is somehow going to get a one-on-one against this Eagles secondary. I can't tell who that Eagles cornerback is, but just watch as his play unravels. So by the time, so you see that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to go deep to Devontae Parker, which I'm not a huge fan of him making this throw, and I think that gets into what I'm not a huge fan of is also his decision-making is a little shaky at times. Sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's really bad. I think he's a little inconsistent when looking at that standpoint. But look at this. Devontae Parker against this Eagles cornerback. I mean, are you really going to throw this ball? I mean, I guess Devontae Parker has a chance of just winning this jump ball, but that's what I'm saying, is you're relying on your wide receiver to bail you out. And I understand also there's really not a lot of guys open in this on the field. So I'm not going to criticize you too much because, you know, the Eagles the Dolphins receiving core is not really open per se, but to be fair, it doesn't really look like Parker's going to be open too. But like I said, he eventually gets this one-on-one against the Eagles cornerback. He throws the ball, and it's all just him winning this jump ball. It's not even awful coverage per se. I just think that Fitzpatrick is relying too much on Parker to make this incredible catch. I mean, there's the battle, and it's just a jump ball. Like, I'm not even going to say it was not a bad ball, but at the same time, it wasn't even like he played a dart to Devontae Parker. It's just a jump ball. Good catch by Parker per se. But I think that too many times this happened, especially in Tampa Bay, but we could see it a couple times in Miami. He's relying too much on that wide receiver core to kind of, I don't want to say bail him out, but to allow him to, I guess, look better. And, you know, with Fitzpatrick, like I said, there's a little bit of inconsistency issues with his decision making. But overall, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick, especially from a veteran standpoint, is a good quarterback. I think the plan, if you're Miami, is just to allow him to mentor Tua. He's capable of winning games in the AFC East. It's a little bit of a strange division, and I'm not saying by any means I think Miami's going to win the division because, you know, you still have Buffalo and you still have New England, and I think the Jets are going to do good this year. But I really think that they have a chance, especially with the offseason moves they made, a second year under Brian Flores, and obviously people forget they finished the year 5-4 in the last 9 games. I really think that they could be a good team in 2020. I think that a lot of people could be underrating them, and I like this Miami team, and I like that what they got at the quarterback position, and I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a good mentor for Tua Tagovailoa, which we'll get into next. Look at this throw, and I understand the receiving core for Alabama is phenomenal in the space they can allow themselves to separate from the defenders is second to none, but just look at this throw from Tua. I mean, the safety is just stepping up, but he throws it right in the middle between them, and it's just a perfectly thrown ball by Tua Tagovailoa to Devontae Smith, who I am so high on, and we're going to see this from this different angle. LSU doesn't bring a lot of pressure per se, but again, let's look at this throw from Tua, right on the money to Devontae Smith, like a perfectly thrown ball, and that's what you can get from Tua if you're hoping to get the healthy Tua, is you're going to get a very accurate Tua who's going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. So it's hard to get a lot of college film per se, all 22 film, especially for the NCAA, because it's just hard to get. So I'm going to just talk about what I don't really like about his game, and that's simply like his injury history. I know that sounds stupid, and I know that's something that everyone always says, but think about it. I mean, the man suffered a really big injury in his junior year at Alabama that eventually did not lead them to the college football playoff, and everyone had them being national championship contenders. But, you know, I think that it's just a little bit of a question mark with Tua, is if he's going to come back stronger and healthier than ever. I mean, we've seen from the clips and from the film in the offseason that he's looked really sharp and really good, but we can't really make that assumption unless we see him get out on the actual field. So that's why I would not start Tua week 1. It was a very bad hip injuries, and if anyone knows anything about hip injuries, those are very hard to recover from. It's such a bad injury. So I would just allow him to slowly and swiftly get into the Miami Dolphins offense. And what better guy to lead you than Ryan Fitzpatrick, like I've been saying. Like, if you have Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's not an immediate rush for Tua to come and have to start week 1. Like, if you're the Dolphins, you're not going to want to if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm not expecting to make the playoffs this year. Like, I guess it's a little bit of a rebuilding stage. They have a lot of cap space. We saw they spend a lot of that money in the offseason. So allow yourself to slowly get into that playoff contention. And I like the way that this Miami team is heading in. And with Tua, like I said, there's no rush for him. If he doesn't play the whole year, so what? He had a whole year under the belt. It's a little bit of a situation. I'm going to kind of compare it to Jarrett Stidham, except he's not going to play this year. Stidham, he didn't play at all last year, except for when the Patriots were up huge against the Jets. But Jarrett Stidham, I still think, is a good quarterback and can be a starting quarterback in the league. So allow Tua to just kind of slowly get into the lineup for Miami. And if he doesn't start year 1, so what? He can start year 2, be the starter for that team, and be the future of the franchise for the Miami Dolphins. But other than, I guess, his injury concern, there's not a lot also you can criticize from Tua's game. I think the only thing you can criticize is he was on Alabama, who has probably the best receiving core in college football. Probably has the top 3 running back in Najee Harris, has an incredible offensive line, had an incredible defense, the best head coach. Like, you have an amazing support system at Alabama. So he obviously has the weapons to succeed at Alabama. But you can't really criticize Tua for being on the team that he is in college. And I still think, yes, he won a national championship. We give him props for that. But there's a lot of good things he still did in college. And I think that in college, he's going to go down as one of the, I guess you could say, best quarterbacks in college football history. I know that seems stupid, but he was really, really good. And a lot of people think that, obviously the whole tank for Tua, a lot of people thought that he was going to be the number 1 overall pick, but if it wasn't for a Joe Burrow season with LSU, obviously, Joe Burrow ended up being the number 1 overall pick, and also with Tua, if he doesn't suffer that injury, he doesn't drop all the way to 5. But Miami still got their guy at 5, and, they still won some games last year, so I really like this Dolphins team and the way they're heading in. So hopefully we can get a healthy Tua and have a successful career with the Miami Dolphins. So that is going to do it for the episode 4 of the NFL QB competition breakdown between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa. And my final decision is, and it was probably, obviously, a lot of people thought I was going to head in this way, but I have Ryan Fitzpatrick starting week 1. I think he should start the whole season, unless it's something where I talked about this with the Chargers. I think if they're like 2-9, 2-10 around the week 12 range, you could just put in Tua to get the reps, because obviously there's no chance of Miami making the playoffs. But if they're still battling for a playoff spot towards the end of the year, I wouldn't play Tua. I would just rock with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And like I said, do not rush Tua Tagovailoa. So thank you guys for watching. That's my decision. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my decision on starting Ryan Fitzpatrick, and let me know who you think should start week 1 for the Miami Dolphins. Thank you guys, like I said, for 1,000 subscribers. We really do appreciate the support. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and leave a comment, and we will catch you guys next time.